सुन लो मेरी बात, आज ये शहबाज शरीफ बड़ा खताकार आदमी है, नवाज शरीफ का फैन है, नवाज शरीफ का फॉलोअर है। मैं आपको उस खुदाए बुजुर्गों बरतर की कसम खाकर कहता हूं कि जब तक मेरी जान में जान है, हम सब मिलकर पाकिस्तान को अजीम बनाएंगे, हिंदुस्तान को शिकस्त देंगे इंशाल्लाह।
Yeah, I think you are asking about the statement which he made that Pakistan is going to surpass India economically. That's what he said recently. Now, on one hand, what the Pakistani premier says, hardly anybody takes it seriously. That's one thing. But nevertheless, since he has made the statement, it's a good opportunity to delve a bit deeper into the current situation as far as Pakistan is concerned. Now, Pakistan is really at crossroads. Apart from what the Pakistani Prime Minister said, what is really happening these days in its southern province of Balochistan as well is that the separatist movement is gaining momentum. Now, talking about this as a separatist movement is also a bit unfair to Balochistan, because Balochistan was never really a part of Pakistan and never did it have any intent to be part of Pakistan. Balochistan is the largest province in terms of geography for Pakistan, and it was earlier called as the state of Kalat prior to 1947, and it had actually gained its independence even before Pakistan or India had gained its independence, and post which Balochistan had evinced interest in joining along with India. Somehow, our administration during that time didn't reciprocate positively, and therefore Balochistan was left in the lurch. And then, after which, Jinnah sent its army to take over Balochistan, and that is how Balochistan was integrated with Pakistan after an armed struggle. Ever since which, the Balochistan Liberation Army has been fighting for its independence. The extent of torture which has happened against the Balochis is unspeakable over the last 70 years. But the resistance movement is still going on. That is about Balochistan. Now, looking at Pakistan as a whole, now since I have just mentioned about the largest province within Pakistan, what is happening in the other provinces? Other provinces are Sindh, Punjab, Northwest Frontier Province. So, the Northwest Territory, earlier there was a Congress leader by the name Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, who was also called as Frontier Gandhi, because he displayed the values which Mahatma Gandhi was trying to propagate, and therefore he earned this name as Frontier Gandhi. He always wanted to be a part of India, and the 1946 elections which had happened, where the Muslim League was fighting the election with the sole agenda of partitioning India, and Congress was on the other side. Congress actually won in that territory. Muslim League didn't win. So Northwest Frontier Province never wanted to be integrated with Pakistan. Balochistan was never a part of it. Then Punjab. What happened in Punjab? The Unionist Party, the Congress, and the Shiromani Akali Dal. These three parties were fiercely against the partition of India, and Muslim League obviously was having the single agenda of partitioning India, and Pakistan and the Punjab was supposed to be part of Pakistan. That is what they wanted it to be. So these three parties together had more votes than Muslim League, and the Unionist Party gentleman was actually the premier of elected as the premier, and he was in power between 42 to 47, and the direct action day was required to be called by Pakistan by the supporters of Pakistan vying for the creation of Pakistan, And that is how, after a bloody struggle, they finally managed to carve out Pakistan, and having Punjab integrated along with this newly carved state of Pakistan. So when your history is like this, where your current territories never wanted to be part of this newly called nation as Pakistan, so what kind of a future can anyway you expect? In this kind of an artificially formed nation, why would I say it as an artificially formed nation is, a nation needs to have a heritage, a background, a history of its own, which should run into at least say 1,000 years or so. That is where you can call it as a naturally formed nation. Like the history of Hindustan is nothing less than 5,000 years by any standards. It actually goes into 15,000, 20,000 years, where a certain culture which took birth then is still very much lively. That is where it is. So, but Pakistan, what is Pakistan? There's nothing called as Pakistani culture also. The entire culture was Hindustani culture, out of which you have carved out a separate nation. So that is where it stands. So this particular nation, Pakistan, which was formed in 1947, 14th of August, the first thing which its creator, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, did within 2 weeks of time is that he went with a begging bowl to the United States and said, see, I have created a country, but I don't have any resources to run it. I need your support. US is always, as any other developed nation, would be very happy to meddle with the affairs of upcoming nations like this, because they can aspire to have their military base somewhere in the vicinity. And the Cold War is also at its peak then with Russia. So they would always like to have some province here, some territory here where they can have their base. So if Pakistan is more than happy to do it, what's the issue with the US? That is how US and Pakistan had a allegiance for an extended period, which ran until the early 2000s. While India was piling up with the Russia. So today, Pakistan is like a headless chicken. It doesn't know in which direction it needs to go. Its entire existence is based just on two things. One is enmity against India, and second thing is Islamism, radical Islamism, so to say. Other than that, they don't have any other identity within them. Now, the identity of Islam, which they are trying to bring upon within themselves, that has outlived its period, because the public of Pakistan themselves have realized that there are bigger Muslim populations outside this particular territory. Indonesia is the largest Muslim country. India has got far more Muslims now today as compared to Pakistan. The entire Arab world, which is comprised of almost 40-50 countries, which are clearly Islamic countries, they have got no issues in being friendly with India. They are at the peak. It's the peak of the friendship which India is currently enjoying with the Arab countries, and that too with a party in power who has been a flag bearer of Hindutva. That kind of a party has got such deep relation with Islamic countries other than Pakistan. So the youth of Pakistan would be wondering what's happening. And now there's a lot of education which is happening within the Pakistan youth, where they are clearly able to see that India has never been the aggressor against Pakistan. Pakistan broke India into pieces and carved out a separate nation. But in spite of that, India never went and attacked Pakistan. All the wars, whether it is the raids in Kashmir which happened in 1948, or whether it is the 1965 Operation Gibraltar, or whether it is 1971, where they actually slaughtered their own countrymen, 3 million Bangladeshis being slaughtered in 1971, the civilians. Every time it is the Pakistani army which has been the aggressor. India has never been that. So this thing, the current crop of Pakistani youth have been realizing. So now the future of Pakistan is very much short-lived. So Mr. Shehbaz Sharif, he can make such tall statements trying to make sure that he stays in power for some more time and trying his lame attempts to become popular within the Pakistani public. But I am very sure that the Pakistani public is getting much more aware. They know that I don't think they are any more proud of their own army. Also, the youth are realizing how in 1971, 93,000 of their own soldiers laid down their arms and surrendered in front of the Indian army. Now, I can't digest that. How can 93,000 strong army surrender to somebody else? You are 93,000. Why don't you pick up your guns and fight a war? And we in India, we have got such tales. The recent movie which was released, Chhawa, which became very famous, where a 8 lakh strong Mughal army is fighting against a 25,000 strong Maratha army, and the Maratha army is still fighting till its last man standing. This is India's history. So when this is your army, the Pakistani army, which is 93,000 strong, and it surrenders meekly before the enemy and comes back, now how can you ever be proud of this kind of an army? I think a sense of realization would have kicked in within the Pakistani public. They would be thinking, did we really do the best of the things of partitioning the Indian mainland and carving out a separate country? Personally, I would say that's what you feel is the best of interest for your own public, and you are going to ensure prosperity and well-being for your own public by doing so. Okay, we are here to fight the bitter pill, but after doing all this, you are going to make them end up in a mess, and you are just going around the world with a begging bowl. That's all the future which you are able to award for your own countrymen. Then I don't see any future. Your future is absolutely bleak. You have to accept the truth. You have to accept the history in its right context. Don't try to misguide your public by telling them some wrong notions of history, by creating your own artificial histories and selling something to your own countrymen. Stop doing that. Accept the truth, and then try to focus on well-being and not trying to just keeping on increasing the budget of your army every given year. If that clarity is there within the Pakistani public, maybe Shehbaz Sharif can aspire to at least ensure the well-being of its own country. Beating India I don't see that happening anytime in the near future. India is far a much bigger economy than Pakistan can ever achieve. If they do, I'll be happy, but I can't see that happening.